time now for the markets for late, and you say another eventful week. The monthly supply-demand reports came out Thursday.
That's right. The April 9th numbers were the subject of a lot of advanced speculation. Now, in our headlines for this week, feeder cattle prices may trend higher. High-quality cotton is said to be hard to find, while uncertainty surrounds corn and soybeans. We begin in livestock, where new USDA figures show meat exports took a big hit to start this year. The U.S. Meat Export Federation says the volume of beef exports in January and February was down 11% compared to the beginning of 2014. U.S. pork exports, meanwhile, declined 10% during the first 2 months of the year. Pork congestion due to that West Coast labor dispute is getting much of the blame. All livestock feeders are being helped now by lower corn prices. In the beef sector, there is speculation in some quarters whether feeder cattle prices may come up a bit while corn values are down. Market watcher Brian Roach seems to be optimistic that could indeed happen.
The feeders have, the inventory, the numbers are still small. And feeder cattle still have an upward bias. The trends are still higher, and I think we're going to continue to see feeder cattle make new highs here nearby.
Another probable spinoff of the cheaper corn prices is the fact that U.S. pork and chicken production is increasing. Market consultant Darrell Holliday recently told Brownfield Ag News that less expensive and plentiful feed supplies are resulting in increases in supplies of pork and chicken. Well, to prep us for the row crop segment of the markets in just a moment, here's an appropriate trivia quiz question. What Mississippi county had the highest rice yields in 2014? Is the answer A, Tunica, B, Washington, C, Coahoma, or D, Bolivar? You'll find out in a few more minutes. Thursday's supply and demand report provided a needed update on U.S. cotton supplies. Brugler Marketing reports that good quality cotton is in high demand and is relatively hard to find. The trade is said to be buying into some rumors that there is a short supply. Economist O.A. Cleveland of Mississippi State says the quality shortage only gets tighter and that this situation will drive the cotton market higher. Cotton futures did enjoy triple-digit gains on Tuesday of this past week. Planting delays and other factors are creating some uncertain times in both corn and soybean markets. Between the prospective plantings report on the last day of March and this week's new supply-demand numbers, there has been plenty to chew on. I talked to Extension Ag economist John Michael Riley to try and sort it all out. Well, John Michael, those March 31st reports put a little movement in the corn and soybean markets, didn't it?
It definitely did. Trading was fairly volatile that day. You had a corn number that came in less than what was expected, a soybean number that came in less than expected, and the soybean number was really one that was surprising, about 1.3 million acres below the analyst expectation of what those national soybean acres were going to be. In the end, we're just over 89 million acres of corn plantings intended, and right at 84.5 million acres of soybean intended acres across the U.S. So a very volatile day nonetheless.
And the hammer really came down in the corn pit especially, right, as a result of those numbers.
That's correct. I think everybody was sitting there thinking we're going to have fewer acres of corn. We've got a wet spring here in the deep south where most of the corn is usually already planted by now. It's still kind of lingering because of the damp soils. And then you have this lower commodity prices across the board. Corn and soybean prices obviously much lower than where we were at a year ago. And so all of this is really just playing into a lot of uncertainty, I think, about what that number was going to be, but also even moving forward, what that number is going to actually look like in the end.
And as far as on the soybean side, just quite the opposite as far as market reaction. Those prices picked up some.
It has, and the soybean pit wasn't nearly as active. Obviously, corn and soybean, they kind of look at each other, and there was more volatility when the report hit. It wasn't nearly as drastic, and both prices have picked up since then, but soybeans didn't take near the hit to have to recover from, and that's why we're seeing those a little bit better today than what they were after that report.
Well, back to your earlier comment about corn and how much may or may not be planted this spring. A lot of chatter about that as we have had a lot of weather delays this year.
No doubt, and again, that's mostly right now impacting the Deep South because we are first out of the gate with plantings. Usually we're starting in the early parts of March of getting the corn planted, and we're very far behind in terms of that. However, you know, the general notion is once you kind of prep the soil for corn, you really have to go that way, and it's going to take a lot of momentum to move you away from planting corn. So we'll see how that shakes out in the June 30th report.
Meanwhile, another ag economist, DuPont Pioneer's Virgil Robinson, says the economics at play this spring indeed warrant a shift by farmers from corn to soybeans, in his opinion. Here's that outlook.
Soybean acres will be up, probably in the vicinity of a couple of million to perhaps as much as 3 million year over year. So if all of those would yield at something near trend, then clearly the new crop bean market has a risk, and the risk would yet be to the downside.
Closing now with forestry products. Southern pine lumber shipments have increased for the 5th consecutive year. This according to the Southern Forest Products Association. It reports that shipments in 2014 approached 16 billion board feet. That is an increase of 5% from the 2013 volume. And looking back at 2009, it was an increase of 34% over that year in the amount of southern pine lumber shipped. Back to trivia now to wrap things up for this week in the markets. The right answer is A. Tunica County had the highest rice yields in 2014.
It's common